Brand on Tour with Angelika Tauber and Katrin Hansel, the podcast where personal branding meets sports. Back to Brand on Tour, the podcast that combines sports with personal branding. Today we've got our very first guest here. She's a former beach volleyball pro player. She was in the top 10 on the world tour. She qualified for the Olympics. However, her story isn't a clear success line. As she qualified for the Olympics, her dream has been taken away from her by a single decision she couldn't control. Today, Sara is building something bigger than her own career ever was. With her initiative 35 by 32, she's on a mission to change the face of sports leadership, aiming for 35% female coaches by 2032 and creating a pipeline for the next generation of women to lead, not just to compete. This conversation is about identity, about pressure, communications, and what it really takes to rebuild yourself on and off the court. So welcome, Sara Montagnolli. Awesome having you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much. So exciting.
Hello, Sara.
Hi.
You're such a pro always when you read these introductions. I feel so amateur next to her. And also next to you as a beach volleyball player. Okay, we're going to start with something fun. Sara, you jumping on this crazy podcast with us, which actually, was just born, tells me a lot about your character. And I want you to tell the audience something about your character that nobody knows yet. Because you have a professional brand online, super pretty professional posts on LinkedIn. Tell us something that nobody knows, but is a big part of your character and personality.
Something that nobody knows. Wow, you started the good question. She didn't prompt me on that.
Weren't you so silent for years?
I don't know. I feel I'm a pretty open book. And I do have 5 godchildren, but some people know that, especially my godchildren. A lot of people no.
Okay, so
Well, maybe later. Yeah, maybe.
What was your cheekiest move on court? Because we knew you were the cheeky player.
And a very competitive one.
Yeah, both, yeah. So I think what was one of my really big strengths is that I have like a lot of awareness. I kind of like see and feel everything. I would like always check out if I see something at the opponents. I would like listen in. I would learn their calling so I know in advance they're going in front, behind, the quick ball or whatever. Or even like when they talk and say, we block line or diagonal. So I would like have like pre-information. This was quite good, and then I would know the rules, so I could use them. So when I was playing, we had medical timeouts without like any consequence or something. And so this for me, it was a tool to use if I don't have a timeout left. And so one time in a semifinal in Switzerland, we lost momentum and like a little, on my hand I had a little bruise or something. Like nothing bad, but but we needed some time. And I was like, I went to the ref, I'm like, yeah, I hurt my hand. And he's like, yeah, medical timeout. Yeah, but like, yeah, so to break the momentum. Or one time in Singapore, I literally had kind of like a heat stroke. And I was playing with Sabine Swoboda, and she's like a very pale player. And like, and she would always get a red face. And I was like, Sabine, let's pretend you have a heat stroke. So then after we come back, the team's going to serve you because they think you are kind of like sick. And that's what we did. And so like, I would always try to like test the borders lines, sometimes go over, sometimes not. And so, that was like, that's still how I live life.
Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking, that probably testing borders and not being afraid of getting rejected is a very important thing in business. So do you feel like you get further away and faster than most just because you have these traits?
I think so. Yeah, I'm as well not afraid to fail. Some people are like, wow, whatever, everything is going in your way or something. And I'm like, you don't know what I've been doing. You don't know, like, let's say last year was not an easy year for me. I did try 20 different things. And 5 turned out really good, and like 15 was just like, yeah, getting experience in other things, but they didn't turn out to be a success yet, you know, but maybe they're in the pipeline, you know. I created courses, I talked to, but I think being in action is one of the biggest, positive things you can do. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's go back to your career as a pro athlete. So, in the first years of your beach volleyball career, you were still playing indoors. That's actually the place where you were earning your money, because beach volleyball wasn't big back then. At least in Austria, it wasn't big. It was literally
Nowhere.
what? So, how was the development, your personal development in regards to players, to getting on the tour, to increase your expertise, whatever? What did it needed back then?
Yeah, I needed big personal development. So, as you said, when I started playing to be an indoor beach volleyball player, my friends asked me as a teenager to come and join their club. I loved it, and I was very athletic, and so I went pretty quick from third division, second division, and then soon at 17 first division. Then I earned some money, and so this was like kind of like my job to bring some money in next to studying. And then when I was 17 in Innsbruck, we got beach volleyball courts. So at 17, you can imagine 1998ish, 6, 7, 8ish, something like that. We didn't have internet. It was different. You know, you didn't have this information you can get right now. So I just went and practiced every day. And then there was one older player, and she was like, hey, there are tournaments. I'm like, oh, I didn't even have driver's license. So she's like, hey, I can take you, you know, bring a partner, and then I can take you, you know. And then the year after, I played with her, 1998. And Neusiedler, where we are right now, this has been the season opening, like from the get-go. So this was our first tournament, you know, like and stuff like this. I talked to her yesterday. I'm like, I'm back where it started, you know, and she's like, yeah, we lost the final 35-36. Do you remember? She's like, you know, she got better memory than me, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I remember we were in the final, yeah. And so, but then, I didn't have a sports psychologist. We had our coach, and that, like in beach volleyball, we had no one. We just did what we thought we can do. Literally, we self-trained. And then looking at others and seeing what they do, but yeah, it was not organized. And so I needed a long time to become a really good partner. I was very competitive. I wouldn't accept any mistakes, not by me, not by my partner. I would get frustrated. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I had no tools, you know. And so that led to having one partner at least each season for the first 7 years.
Crazy. And your coaches, didn't they try to help you somehow?
We didn't have a coach.
You didn't have a
coached
coach
yourself?
for 9 years?
Wow.
Like there were no coaches in beach volleyball then. No, we were just doing whatever we thought. And then I made the change to later, like, to try to be professional, and then that's when everything changed as well. Like, we did play kind of the big system. We didn't know that trying to pass kind of like straightforward or like to the middle is easier than passing all the way to the right and then setting. So it was different.
Still, you made it to the world tour.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So it's fair to say that you gave birth to beach volleyball in Austria. Mama Sara. Good Mama Sara. You have 6 godchildren, actually.
I did help. Getting this more professional, or showing the way on that as well. You do have a chance playing professional, just beach volleyball.
And you turned out to be one of the best players worldwide. You've played top 10. You qualified for Olympics in Beijing, and many, many more titles you've got on the list. So what was the lowest you have ever fallen, career and personally wise?
The lowest, probably two big things. Like, one was, of course, as you mentioned before, I qualified for the Olympics, but then we were not able to go. This was like a big, disappointment.
Why?
Yeah. So Sabine and I, so as well, I started my professional career with Sabine. we both made the decision. We both got ditched by our partners then. And so we were at the tournament in France, standing there by, like, both of them. They said they're going to play together. And we were like, should we try to play together? Because we were the left alones, you know. And then we're like, wow, we're going to be a really short team because I'm very short and she's 175, 176. And she would have been the main blocker on the World Tour. And we're like, if we're going to try it, we have to do more. So she was working in a laboratory. So she was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job. And I'm like, I'm going to quit indoor. And we're going to go to Brazil, find a coach. And we just take our savings and we just go all in.
Fully committed.
That was fully committed. And that changed our life. From this day on, we qualified for, like, in the first season, we just stayed in qualification one time and we qualified for all the other tournaments. So we climbed up the ladder in the world ranking, which means, you get better seeding. Sometimes you even start in main draw. And so step by step, we just got better and better. That meant we got better sponsorship as well. Once you qualify, you get the hotel room paid and you get prize money. So it's like a triple win. And that was the birth of our professional career. And then our big goal, of course, was the Beijing Olympics. And we managed to qualify for the Beijing Olympics. And then for the last, we had the last trainings camp in Greece. And Sabine hurt her back. Like, she always had some back problems, but she managed them with all her exercises and everything. And then we're like, we don't want to take any risk. Let's fly home and let's check it. And then we made our one worst decision. Like, at the day, it seemed like, who can help us best? Probably the Olympic official doctor. So we called the Olympic official doctor, which, like, we haven't known him before, because we were like, he's going to help her. Like, he's going to try to make her ready. And he looked at her and he's like, yeah, you can't play. And we're like, what? No, like, he saw her first time. He's like, no. And then we went to 2 different doctors and they were like, no, she's eligible. She can play. She's been playing like this. She has had this, because they knew Sabine. And he was like, no, I won't let her play. I won't let her compete. Then we had a second chance because 4 years ago, like, there was a ruling for Olympic Games that if there is an injury, you have a substitute player. The substitute player has to fulfill some stuff. And we had the substitute player with Babsi Hansel. She fulfilled all the requirements. She played all the tournaments. And we're like, okay. We had a meeting and we're like, instead of no one going, I go with the substitute player. And then we put this in, and then the Austrian Olympic Committee was like, no, we don't accept that. And 4 years prior, something similar happened to the men's team. Clemens Doppler hurt his knee, and then Nick Berger went with Flo Gauche. So it was possible. And then with us, so this is, like, really frustrating because, as well, the journey as a beach volleyball player, you pay your own expenses. When I was playing, I had to pay my own coach. Like, if I wanted my coach with me at the tournaments, I had to pay his flight, his accommodation, his salary. Everything. Like, it's a big thing. And as well, of course, I have to pay mine and like my partners. If we wanted a sports psychologist or a physiotherapist, we had to pay everything ourselves, you know? You do get some funding, but all the costs are your costs, and you cover them with the funding, which is created by how your world ranking is and which positions you made, and then sponsorships and stuff like that. But and so if you finally make it yourself and then someone else who has no idea how you got there makes a decision, that was frustrating. So this was hard.
It's painful. It's
Uh-huh.
even painful just listening to it, although it's been quite a few years. It's almost
Like, I want to ask, what was his problem? Like,
Yeah.
do they want to give people a good show and he was afraid that Sabine will not be able to give a good show to the people?
No,
What's the
especially as an athlete, you train so hard and you qualify, and then somebody else is just deciding for you to be part of a certain event. That's painful. So lows and highs in sports as well as in business are very closely connected or very close to each other. So what was your highest high in your entire beach volleyball career?
Probably a year after the Olympics, when I played then with Babsi Hansel. We went to the semifinal at the home tournament at the Grand Slam in Klagenfurt. This was literally 1 year after the Olympics, and we were, like, kind of entering the top 10 of the world. We were playing really well, and I got named the MVP of the tournament. This was super special.
Which is the most valuable player, and what everyone is familiar with, the abbreviation.
Yeah, so that was very, very special. And then maybe as well that I was, let's say, the second best defender of the World Tour for 2 years in a row after Larissa. That was like kind of were my highest highs, I would say. Yeah.
Amazing. I just want to get back very quickly to that part where you said that you and Sabina got dumped by your partners, both of you. What I found very incredible about that story is that you didn't just say, okay, fuck it, then we do something else. And you found a way and literally went all in without knowing what will be the consequence, without like, are we ready? Do we need, I don't know, a coach? Do we need to train a year before we do it? And you literally quit everything, both of you, and you went all in and you qualified for it. Like you had one of the best years. Like
Yeah, like this decision. Yeah, I think we both loved the sports of beach volleyball already, and we were just for a lot of years like hanging around whatever, like 50, 60 in world ranking, and wouldn't get any further because we didn't do it professionally. So we played for 4 months or something, and others were playing the whole season, you know. And I think we both heard this calling of I guess there is more, but yeah, you have to make the first steps, you know. So
exactly. So if you are on the floor, you're left alone. It's all a choice. You either choose to stay on the floor and complain and blame the world for being so shitty, or you can take it into your own hands and make it the best year of your life, qualify for everything, become one of the top athletes in the world. I think this is such an inspiring story. Like, thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Back then, have you actually ever thought about branding and personal branding? Was that a thing? Have you thought about what if you stop your career as a pro athlete? What's going to be next?
Not really. No. When I started playing, or like right after school, I started to study sports science and economic. And then because I played indoor with the second best Austrian team where we played in European Cup, and this was always in January, and then in summer, in May, as we know, the beach season starts, and I played national team and then beach volleyball. So whenever the big exams came up, I was never there. And then after 2-3 years, like seeing, I'm doing all the seminars, and then whenever there's the exam, the final exam, I'm never there. And then summer term, I'm not there, and winter term, I'm not there. And then I just stopped studying. So I didn't finish my study during my career, but I finished it afterwards. So I didn't. Yeah, I was just, let's say, in the moment. I'm an athlete right now, and I'll figure things out later. Kinda.
Why and when did you stop playing beach volleyball professionally?
2012. Why? It got like 2-3 different reasons. So the second low of my career was, let's say, the last 1.5 years in my career. We were I was playing with Babsi Hansel, and we were like going into top 10 of the world, and like really this was my best performance and like my best level of playing with her, because she was a really big, huge blocker, and then I was a good defender, and we just, it was a really great team performance we had, and we knew on a good day we can beat any team, and then she decided she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. And she said, after, like, this was 2000, she said, okay, we're in the Olympic process to qualify for London Olympics, but after the Olympics, I play with you up to 2012, the Olympics, and then I play with someone else. And I don't want to talk to you anymore. And so this literally would be us being, we always had the Brazilian preparation, like we were 3 months in Brazil, and this would look like I'm coming after a weekend. Like we had the weekend off, and I come on Monday. I'm like, hey, how was your weekend?
Not talking to you at all.
No. Oh, no, she stopped talking to me.
What was her problem?
But how could you manage still playing together on the court?
Yeah, that was tough. So that was playing wise. This was the toughest time of my life, and it's hard to explain, because you feel like on court, I guess you know how important it is to have your partner, especially when you're under pressure, your partner to help you, like set you well, give a good call after not so good shot or spike, lift you up or something, like sometimes, yeah. And then if this is missing, then it's a big part. And so it was very taxing. And so my performance wasn't as good anymore because it's just very stressful. We did try, like the coach tried, the sports psychologist tried. We did try to see if we can find a solution. You can't really talk about it because you're still in a professional team. You have sponsors. You have you don't want to tell your opponents. So it didn't look very different from the outside. And I did have some coaches or some other people later on coming to me like a year or 2 years later and saying, like, the new coach of the then other team, like Babsi with someone else, he came and he's like, Monty, how did you do that? I'm like, I just did whatever I could. And he's like, we didn't know. I'm like, yeah, no one knew. Like, and he's like, we didn't know. I'm like, yeah, it was hard.
You kept the poker face.
Yeah, what can you do? Like,
Some
you're in it, you're trying to accomplish something really hard, qualifying for the Olympics, which we didn't manage by one spot. And I know exactly, we had like 5 tournaments where we needed a top 10, like we needed 1 or 2 more top 10 results. And we had 5 tournaments where we lost the deciding game by 2 or 3 points, like, and I know exactly why. Yeah. So, yeah, very hard. Yeah. But one thing is, like, I was then 33 and I'm short, and I started getting like some Achilles pain, like some chronic pain in my Achilles sometimes. So like I did have almost all my career, my body was like going really well, which I need being under 170, And so there I had some small problems. And I think being so passionate about this sport, I think it always would have been super hard for me to find the correct point to stop. But with all this happening, I was like, okay, I guess it's meant to be. I did have 2 options to continue, which I explored, but both of them didn't seem like, for me to go on. And so that's how I announced my end of the career. And then it, like, publicly, it was like, okay, Monty is ending her career. Babsi needs to find a new partner. Like, this was the official version, but the the internal version was, like, for me was different. But yeah,
Yours was like, she took all my joy. I know, stop.
no, and she already decided beforehand that she after Olympics she wouldn't want to play with me anymore. So yeah,
That's painful. That's
yeah.
not the best
Yeah.
situation or
No.
ground to have proper training on.
Yeah.
Well, and so then you were heading into transition period between your pro career
Yeah.
and your own business. How did this go?
Step by step. So right after I was like, okay, let's finish some education because I'm here, ex player. As a beach volleyballer, you're not a millionaire once you stop playing.
Are you while you're playing?
While you're playing, you are no.
Mortgage, just spending too much money, right?
Yeah, like all my properties around the world. I didn't
I
mention.
visit you for a podcast episode, right?
Yeah, we go to every continent. Yeah. And so then I was like checking, okay, is there a possibility to finish like my university degree? And so I found the Bachelor of Science, Gesundheitssport und Leistungssport, which I could get some of the things I did already certified. And then I was just like putting heads in, just doing this. And after 2 years, I finished my bachelor degree, and then next to it, I did because of the problems and because of the communication and connection problems. I was like, I want to go into communication and this way. My idea was like, wow, we've been the same athletes, and one time we've been top 10 in the world, and then we've been out of the top 20. So, but we've been the same material, let's say. Same physics, same skills, same technique, but with a little glitch there with communication and connection, we're not top 10 in the world anymore. And so I did a mediator and conflict coach education as well. This is, this was like on weekends, and it lasted 1.5 or 2 years as well. And I did all the coaching license you need to go through, the different levels to be a classified coach. As well in Austria, I have the highest education. This takes some time because it's always like it's 1 week here and then a couple of months later another week, and so you have to go through all the levels, and it takes some time as well. So end of 2014, I kind of like finished all my degrees, and then I was like, okay, let's see where life leads me now. Yeah, so
Cool.
It led you to
Australia.
Australia. Well, we have lived at the same time, by the way.
Yeah, the world is a small village.
It is actually, yeah.
Because funny enough, Sabine, your former pro partner, played with Catherine when Catherine became the Vienna champion.
2017, actually, we teamed
That's
up
when we
and
met
we
you the first time.
played the nationals together.
No, so and yeah, Sabine is great.
That was
yeah.
good fun.
Yeah, she's fun. She's awesome. Yeah, we have so many good stories. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Sabine, like you.
So volleyball was your first big love.
Yeah.
And you have a new big love right now, right?
Oh yeah, I have a yeah. So this came to me literally in the last couple of years, where I came back more into professional sports again, as a mindset coach. So I went on tour with the teams, and then I was like looking at the tour, and I was like, wow, it just looks like 20 years ago, just male head coaches, you know? And I'm like, wow, nothing happened. And then I started putting on those glasses, like, okay, let's have a look. And I looked at different sports, and literally it's almost the same in any sport. And I'm like, I cannot believe that there is like one area, like leadership in sports, where female leadership almost doesn't exist. And so
crazy.
and so I started connecting with other, like with international people who see the same thing. And I'm like, wow, if we don't do anything systematically, it will stay the same, because it did stay the same the last 20 years. And when I started, for me it was logic that there were more male coaches, because let's say male sports has been professional longer, so there are more ex-players and more people from the male side who want to become coaches. But now, 20 years later, it's still the same. I'm like, wow, in economy and in other, like in business, there was like some system change and some actions going into, hey, we need to higher the percentage of female, leadership in business or something. But in sports, I feel we're stuck. Yeah.
Why do you think former female pro athletes, especially in beach volleyball, are not returning as coaches? Is there some reason for it? Is it a personal reason, or is it more the structure?
I think it's not beach volleyball. I think if you look in general, if you think about either soccer, handball, snowboard, ski, whatever, you can name it, indoor volleyball. If you look at the sideline, it's like 90% male coaches. So what you don't see, you don't know that you can become. I think it starts first. You need to see it. Like you need to see a female pilot. You need to see a female doctor, surgeon. You need to see, you need to see that you can have the idea, hey, actually, this is a career path. I could become this. And then as well, if it's a very male environment, then it's just sometimes hard for women, It's and that's why as well my initiative is like having at least 30%, because then if there are like 10 people, 3 to 4 gonna be women, not just one. Because if you're the only one, it's always hard. You're always in this very masculine environment, And so that's my passion right now. And then as well, this is where I know we need to be having like creating actions, doing something, because just naming it, saying, oh, what a pity, there are no female coaches, like it won't change anything, So yes.
Exactly, you need to do, you need to execute, you need to push and drive this whole thing.
Yeah.
So what have you achieved in the last year, 2 years? How long has it been going on?
So the research and that I opened my eyes and something like this has been the last 2 years, and then last year I've been more concrete. Thinking about something, and then I started, like, I have a big initiative, and this year I started with a pilot project in the sports of beach volleyball, where I go through all Austria. I'm gonna go to one event in each state. So Neusiedler is my very first kickoff event. We're gonna have a workshop later today, and then tomorrow I'm calling female leadership, all the women who want to do the first or the next step in coaching. So they don't need any experience. It's free, like anyone can come. And we're going to check out what is the situation right now. What are the barriers or hurdles or something we are experiencing, and what can we do, And because we need, and then I'm gonna create like a community, a buddy program, a mentoring program, because I was just like imagining, let's see, there is a club in somewhere around here, and it's like a old style club. And then there is this 22-year-old Michaela, and she's passionate and she wants to do it. And then she goes back into this, let's say, a little bit old style club, and maybe she's facing some problems or something. I can't just have one workshop and then say, hey, good luck. Now just go and shine, whatever. No, I want to create this community where we have a monthly call, we have a buddy system where they have a weekly checkup, see how they're doing, if they have challenges, if they have problems, if they have some doubts, and then just talk about it and create this community. As well, I think we as women, we need to empower and just motivate some people to do this step, because sometimes we're too shy. Sometimes we're like, no, I don't know if I can do it,
Yeah,
but
we're holding us back way too often.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we just, as well, like men and women need to just give this little kick. Hey, you're good at that. You can do that, And then, because this is going to take some time, like, I did talk yesterday already to some of the coaches here or some of the club owners, and they were like, he sees that even like women, he has some really powerful women coaches, and then some teams would come up and say, I don't know if they're capable of being my coach or doing the training, because we are not used for women being in this position. And
It's
even
ridiculous.
and even they are like experienced and they did all the education, because we don't, it's not familiar with us. That's why we resist it. Even as women, sometimes we resist a female coach because we are not familiar with it. We are used to having a guy telling us what, and not a woman, And so I think as well, this is a big shout out to everyone to just be open-minded. And just because it is a little bit different, it doesn't mean it's not qualitative, So yeah, I think we all need to... Yeah, we all have those bias in our, like, subconscious bias even, And so I think we all need to get sensitive there and check ourselves. Like, hey, did I just judge someone before the person even did the first step, Yeah. And then would I do the same if this would be a guy? Or am I super critical right now, And then, us women empowering each other, supporting each other, high-fiving each other. Like, if I see a woman coach, I'm going to high-five her, And not be like... What does she think? Or like, it's like we all need a little shift in our thinking. So
when we empower each other, especially as women, each other, it's way easier for other women to step out of the comfort zone and just give it a try. Even if I may fail. Who cares if you fail? It's fine. It's a good experience.
You can just fail once you try, Like being out on the spectator and being smart about them making mistakes, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't try, you 100% fail, right? If you do try, there is a chance that you still succeed.
Yeah.
Before, you just mentioned visibility, so you will attend all these different tournaments in different states. So it is your visibility with the initiative 35 by 32. But what about the visibility online with your brand, with your personal brands? How does this support or impact the initiative or your business in general?
And that was perfect, because it was exactly my question as well. And what exactly are you doing to create this awareness? Because I think being in the different stations here where you're traveling is important, but you can create such a huge impact and reach so many people if you put it out there online. Because if people scrolling constantly see Coach Women, you will be able to reach so many at once.
Yeah. That's exactly what I need to do. How would people know that this is happening if I don't spread the word? And this is the first stop. The pilot project started, let's say, in March. Yeah, that's when we got you can go, as well. We are funded by the Bundesministerium für Sport. So that's amazing. They were like, wow, I think this is a really great cause and we want to support this. and they kind of like make it possible that I can go to all the stations and have as well we do have a workshop always where we talk about a lot of things and where we get information and create new steps. And then we have a workshop where we go on the sand and we do the first steps. It's like a practical workshop where as well I always have a co-lead, a male co-lead. So tomorrow Clemens Doppler is coming and supporting as well the project, which is amazing. And visibility is a big part, because how can I reach more people for the next stop? The next stop's going to be in 3 weeks in Pelchach at the next tournament, and so we're going to have one tournament in each state. And I want to reach as many people as possible, and then we can create really big impact. So what I try with my own ability, I created, of course, a web page. I created the social media channels, and then I just give my personal best to create content, make shout outs, tag people. And I do have thinking about that this just was born, let's say, a little bit over a month ago. Really, really cool, like reposting and people coming back to me and telling how amazing this project is and that they support it. So I do feel the female community especially like supporting it. And this feels really good, because first of all, you see people see it and they love it and support it. And so anyone who can help share, like this is this is just the best thing you can do.
Everyone who wants to help share.
Give me feedback on how to spread it. Like I'm open. I know I was a really specialist in beach volleyball, but I'm not the social media specialist. I'm not, I give my best. I always try to find solutions, but I'm always open for feedback and help and anything.
But that's great, because it's not about being perfect. It's about getting started and just get it done, right?
Yeah.
And being super passionate about it. I think people started sharing it already because they see your passion, how this has become your purpose and the fire in your eyes. And there is a very strong purpose behind it, right? People, and what is strong branding? It's having something that makes people feel like they belong to something bigger, that is not just them, a little tiny piece of sand, that it's like a community, like you said, that they can belong to, that they are part of, they're building something bigger for the future, for a legacy. It will be a legacy for all the future generations. So this is such a huge thing.
Yeah, exactly. So as well, like I think last year I had kind of like a breakthrough in this way, because sometimes you're so much into whatever, I'm not this social media person or something, and if you actually go through my social media, you will see I've been normally posting a little bit, I'm biking through Innsbruck or something, and then all of a sudden I started like creating content and like just putting myself out there, and without maybe it's not perfect or whatever, but just putting it out there, and like otherwise people don't hear it. And then like having this a little bit for my own brand before I'm now doing the bigger thing, 35 by 32, helped me, because like yesterday I was just like I think I need another shout out, and so I just don't worry if it's perfect, because it's not about me as well, it's about the project, that people see it and then spread the word.
And the more you stepped into visibility, the more responses you probably got. That's what I assume. What were the first responses within your existing environment?
About the project
And more visibility in general.
Like the reason I started it, because last year a little bit putting myself out there, because people knew me as the ex-player, but they didn't then actually know that I work as a mindset coach, that I work with teams, I work with athletes, mostly elite athletes, but can be as well amateur athletes, because working on your mindset helps at any level. And literally working as well with not pro athletes, you see they have a lot of similar topics, it comes up anywhere, doesn't matter how high your level is. And and this helped, because then people actually knew what I'm offering, and now as well, I just share my what I'm here for. For example, now that my passion about the project, and then seeing, let's say, other clubs sharing it or saying something about it or something, it lightens up my heart, because I'm like and I came here yesterday and saw the qualification, and then female players come up and talk to me, and they're so delighted, and they're like, yeah, that's what we need, and thanks for doing that. And
Awesome.
I think as well, I would have loved to have a female coach sometimes, you know, and yeah, so it's important.
So you're a mindset coach, you are a mentor, and you are also an author because you recently launched your book, The Next Match, The Court Changed, The Fight Didn't. It's a high five philosophy for life after sports. So
Yeah.
what is your high five philosophy?
Yeah, I think my high five philosophy is like celebrating each little small step, high fiving each other, showing the other person you see them. Like let's say even if you work in a big office, in a small office, appreciating the other person. Like in beach volleyball, it's like once you reach a certain level, you feel like a side out, a normal side out is the minimum standard, and then you stop celebrating a normal side out. And then if you make one mistake, then you go into the negative spiral already. If the side out is normal, but a mistake is bad, then how can you go positive, you know? And so, but once you start celebrating the little steps, which you feel like now this is standard, like then you're always in the positive, and then you make a mistake, this isn't such a big problem, and you can make another side out. And in life, I think it should be similar. Like you should celebrate your little wins, you know, and then step by step, all of a sudden, all those little wins go into a big win. And so, yeah, and as well, celebrate other people. Like there is the ocean of abundance, and it's not because you're successful, I'm going down. No, you can be successful. I can be successful. You know, there is enough for all of us, you know, and have this mindset that there is enough. And we can start celebrating each other. And like if one woman is successful, this is good for a lot of other women, and not, I should have this spot, you know, she's successful and I should have, no, you can be successful. I can be successful too. You can be, you know, like, so getting more into this abundance. Yeah.
I love it. You said so many things. First of all, you're like sunshine. You're a ray of sunshine, so positive, so joyful. Absolutely amazing sitting next to you. I feel the waves, the energy that you're passing, and your philosophies, the ocean of abundance. More people need to hear that. More people need to know about it. I really wish you a lot of success with your personal branding, with visibility, with communication, because we have a lot of greed, and we have a lot of jealousy, and we have a lot of all these things that you mentioned. People, and it's all in our heads. It's nothing that really exists. It's just the perspective that we choose to have. And you, as a mental coach, as an athlete, a former athlete, as a coach for current athletes, you can pass it on. And I really hope you do. I'm sure you will do, because I've seen, like, through all of your stories right now, you have demonstrated that if you just choose to continue, if you choose to not give up, you will achieve it, and you will achieve it, and we will all benefit, and we will all be successful, because we live in an ocean of abundance.
Thanks for being with us, Sarah, today. It was awesome listening to you and sharing your experience with us.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Thank you as well.
Yes, high five.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
the
being
best.
with us today, and we'll see you in the next episode of Brands on Tour. Bye.
Bye.